Hello and welcome to Predictocast, the podcast where we predict a movie storyline after watching only the first 10 minutes and knowing nothing else about it. I'm Josh, and with me as always is Skinner. Hey, Skinner.
Ring, ring. Oh, hello. It's me on the phone. It's Skinner. Hey, how you doing? Let me put on your call waiting for a second. Hey. Oh, I'm still on the same line? This never worked.
I'm back.
Thank goodness. We are rolling on with our month bought out by our Patreon supporter, Darren. And this week on the show, we are discussing Denise Calls Up from 1995. Oh, that little bit of fun comedy that Skinner did right up top is, I think, indicative of where this movie's going to go.
You know what? Okay. Here's the thing. While we have done movies that involve lots of phone calls in the past, aka the telephone,
yes.
and it was
yes.
a wretched experience that I would never go back to if you paid me. We have been paid this time.
No.
2, this is the first movie we've done at least co-starring one of the co-stars of Wings.
That's true. We haven't done any Tim Daly. That's interesting.
I mean, have we done any Tony Shalhoub movies?
No, I don't think so.
That's weird. That's a shame. That would be better.
I mean,
than
we
this.
should look at the cast of Wings and figure out if we've done any films with anyone.
I swear we've done something with Crystal Bernard, right? Because we did. What did we do with Crystal Bernard?
Oh, we did do Crystal Bernard. She was in I think that Christmas movie where she dates Santa's son, who's played by Steve Guttenberg.
Right. That movie is fucking awful. And do we do any Steven Weber?
I don't think so.
He's the best one because his character was named Brian.
Oh, that's all it takes.
For young Brian, yes, that is all it took.
I mean, that's fair. I think I was probably similar.
Yeah, I mean, you probably really enjoyed Tosh 2.0 because it was close to Josh 2.0.
That's right. That is exactly right.
Man, so we got another telephone movie on our hands. This requires single room acting. Are you excited?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go out on a limb and make the prediction that the entire movie is this of various people calling each other.
It has to be you wouldn't dedicate a movie that is a blissful 1 hour and 16 minutes long. Thank God.
Thank God.
Could you imagine this conceit stretched so far? But oh yeah, I know. But could you wouldn't dedicate the full first 10 minutes to people picking up the phone and calling and having a camera right in front of their face, scene after scene of this, and then not do it the whole movie. Yet it is inconceivable to me that that's all we're going to see.
Maybe this is good. Again,
okay. It is
we don't want to besmirch.
It is 77% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Like I said, we don't want to besmirch Darren's name. He is a very nice guy. We've met him. He's a lovely human being, and he has pretty good taste. So I don't think that he would just give us an outright stinker unless he was just really trying to mess with us. And that might be the outright stinker might be Weekend at Bernie's too. But I love that movie, so I know that's not the one.
I can imagine. What I figure on this one now is that it, from the first time it is just people calling each other on regular ass 1995 phones using regular ass 1995 laptops. That we are going to get the most 1995 movie possible, where these people have all the problems and quirks and stresses and zeitgeists of 1995 specifically. What were city folk who were on the move, who were on the phone, who didn't have social websites back then? What did these people what do people stress about? What were their worries? What were their anxieties? What would they talk to their therapists about? But instead, just talk to their friends about over the phone. What are these people? And that very specific slice of existence in 1995, I think is just going to be served up on a fucking plate like to us in this movie.
Yeah, probably.
And there's probably not going to be Crystal Bernard in this movie. No Thomas Hayden Church.
No, I have been spending the last couple of minutes looking through the Wings cast to see if any of them jump out at me as having been in a movie that we've covered. And found one.
David Schramm?
Found another one.
What's that?
No, I mean, technically he's not a cast member because he was only in 3 episodes, but William Hickey.
Oh, of course.
We did that Steve Martin, Rick Moranis movie, My Blue Heaven.
My Blue Heaven.
Isn't that what it was called?
Maybe. We've done a lot of movies. We're closing out on 100 movies. I want everyone to understand that.
That is true.
But
yeah,
David Schramm, excellent character actor in Wings. He should be in more of our movies, but he's not.
So let's talk about...
What? Let's talk? Okay, a second. Hello. Hey, Josh. What do you want to talk about? This is Brian.
That's a gag. Let's just go to that right now because it happens right at the end of the 10 minutes. But because people are calling back and forth, call waiting, they have that, they're using it. When did call waiting start? Was that around the early 90s or was that around in the 80s?
I know my parents got it in the early 90s. And my mother is a phone person to this day. She expects and wants multiple phone calls. If she got one of those big phones that had you could do 2 call waiting people at once. The speed dial had the big red flashing light if she had voicemail on it. So that when she came in the house, the first thing she would do to see if that red light was on. And literally, if it's not, she would sadly go, "Nobody loves me." But I remember her getting call waiting in the early 90s and being just phenomenally excited to put her one sister on hold so she could talk to her other sister.
Well, they must have really loved it when you could do like conference calling.
She still, when I call her, and like, I don't call anyone for not work, right? Like, besides internal work calls, I'm never calling you on the phone. I'm talking to you people in your ears over a microphone, but a telephone I'm not doing unless I have to.
We have progressed beyond the need to talk on the telephone.
We have, except for my mother is nearly 80 and still loves the phone. And when I call her, she will invariably tell me she has a call on her line, go to put me on hold, not do it right, say hello to me. I will say hello back. And she'll go, no, it's still ringing. And then I have to hit the flash button. I don't know what the flash button is. She always says that. I have to hit the flash button. I've seen her phone. I've been in her house. There is no button that says flash. And then she goes away. She also says the loudest ringer you have ever heard, which also plays when she's on the phone with me. When the other call comes in your line, her other phones ring.
Wow, your mom, her phone's blowing up, man. She's very popular.
It is always blowing up. She is has all the time in the world for it. But I think it was the early 90s, and I think this was It
looks like it says it was the 70s, actually.
Well, that's maybe Nova Scotia.
I think it became more. Yeah, it became more widespread.
More affordable
after a certain point. Yeah, probably more affordable. More equipment got progressed, but I think in the early 70s. There was the first generation of electronic switch machines that were started to get put out. And
speaking of my mother, she worked.
It expanded.
She worked at a telecom company before I was born. She quit when she had me because life had reached its peak with my birth. She didn't quit for my brother, I tell you that. But she told me that she was working in like 1976. Like they had working models of video phones at the place that worked perfectly fine. That just never came to market.
Yeah, I mean that was a thing. Speaking of the '90s, that everybody thought was going to be in the future. Like everybody's on a video phone and whatnot.
And now we have Zoom, and we would rather be doing anything but.
Exactly. So just to give a brief kind of overview of what happens in these first 10 minutes, because we're talking about film here. Denise Calls Up seems to consist of a bunch of people who are all sort of friends that kind of overlap, and they're sort of overlapping phone conversations. We open with a woman waking up who we thought was Denise, because makes sense. And she gets up. I think this is Linda.
I believe yes. This is Linda. She is the inciting person, but not really in the rest of the 10 minutes.
Yes. So she wakes up and she kind of cleans up. She's cleaning up after the this party that she had, and that apparently no one attended. We see as she wakes up there, the camera pans over and there's all of this food that's out. She made all these like sandwiches and spread and everything. And for the amount of people that seem to have not gone to the party, this would have been overkill even if everybody showed up.
But that'd be like, okay, I would like this amount of food with a larger amount so I could both enough of a crowd where I could hide from everybody, and also enough food where I could eat the entire night.
And no one would notice.
No one would notice. I mean, my conscience would. But other than that.
Your bathroom.
Well, I wouldn't use, I would hopefully go to my bathroom, like you said, but I can not their one, because that would be embarrassing.
No, you use theirs. Like, leave it all behind. So yeah, she's cleaning up and she gets a phone call from her friend Gail, who says, "Oh, hey, sorry, I didn't make it to your party." I think she asks her who showed up, and this is when Linda reveals that no one showed up. And that's kind of a running thing of all the people that pop up are like, "Oh, I didn't have time," or "I didn't feel like it," or "I had other things that were going on." Everybody's sort of self-obsessed, I would say. I think that's just how we were in 95.
95 in the cities, we were just neurotic. We couldn't stop. We were always on our click-a-clacking on our work, and we just never stopped to smell the roses or eat the cocktail weenies.
And so then Gail calls Frank, Tim Daly,
Wings his own, and boy, his hair in this movie, beautiful.
Yeah, it's looking good. This was like his heyday.
This is his heyday.
I think Wings was right before this, 1990 to 97. So he was on Wings when he was making this movie.
Now he's transitioning out into movies, and clearly Denise Calls Up was a launching pad for him. A launching pad for this man who played a pilot on a television show.
A launching pad that had to be brought back in because the wing was on fire.
I imagine everyone in this thought they were picking a very interesting character study. Of course.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, all this probably an afternoon of filming. Like, here's 2 sets you sit in and take phone calls, and you do 4 scenes. You're never in the room with somebody, and you move on. You go back to the set of Wings. You go up to Shalhoub. You go up to church and say like, hey, I know you guys are jealous, but I'm gonna be a big movie star. Me,
you know what?
Tim
You know what
Daly.
else he also? Yeah, you know what else he also did this year?
What did he do?
Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde.
How
have you ever seen that?
No, have you?
I have. It's something. I imagine that it would not hold up and might be problematic today.
I can imagine.
Listen to this cast in this. I know we're not talking about Denise Calls Up, but literally it's just people on the phone for 10 fucking minutes. So there's not a whole lot that happens. And I made the prediction that the entire movie is going to play out like this.
If I hope someone in this movie asks about, did anyone watch last night's episode of Wings? So let's get back to the cast of Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde. Ms. Hyde.
We'll talk about Denise in a second, because she's really the only person who seems to be doing anything in this. But yeah, Dr. Jekyll, Ms. Hyde, 95, same year as Denise Calls Up, starring Tim Daly as Dr. Richard Jacks, who comes up with a potion. He is basically the great grandson of Dr. Jekyll, and he tries to improve a perfume formula, but it ends up turning him into a woman who is ambitious and ruthless, and she tries to prevent going back to being the man because he's spineless.
This is what
I'm sure that the gender politics are probably not good.
I can't imagine. Like, this has to be 100%. Oh man, the Broads, the movie.
Screenplay. 4 dudes wrote this movie.
I mean, they're in touch. Did you know that?
So let me tell you this:
Tim Daly's has been in 120 episodes of Madam Secretary.
I did not know that.
Did you know there's a
He's
TV
also
show?
Superman. Yes, I did know that was a TV show.
I did know he was the voice of Superman in quite a few things.
Yes. Anyway, all right, let's get to this. So, as Helen Hyde, the woman who the woman version, it's Sean Young from Blade Runner and numerous things. Lisette Anthony is in it. Stephen Tobolowsky, Harvey Fierstein, Jeremy Piven. It's like there's folks. Aaron Tager, and he's Canadian. You know who he is?
Went to school together.
No, he's Dr. Vink from Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, a show that will somehow work its way into our oeuvre at some point.
Yeah, definitely. But it's from what I remember, it's not very good, and I can imagine that looking back at it with modern day eyes might reveal that its gender politics are probably not in the right place.
That's gonna be a lot of what we have to deal with the Tim Daly output.
Yeah, at one point I know towards the end, I think when the formula's running off, she ends up having a big bushy mustache.
Hilarious.
Despite the fact that Tim Daly does not have a mustache in the film.
All that testosterone just running through her all of a sudden.
All right, so let's talk about a couple other people. Frank, Tim Daly, who? Oh, did you know he was also in Dr. Oh, sorry, we already talked about that.
So back to Tim Daly.
He gets who was in Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde.
Did you know on our daily Tim Daly show?
The Daily Tim Daly.
We're guest hosted by Annie Daly. So
hey, when Trevor Noah steps down, bring in Tim Daly.
He's been he's been Madam Secretary. Apparently ran through 2019. I had no idea it existed. So he's free after 120 episodes of Madam Secretary.
Yeah, that means he's into political stuff. So we'll fit right in. So
he gets a call from Gail. Gail is Dana Wheeler Nicholson. Gail is his ex.
Yes.
And she wants to know why he didn't go to the party, and I don't remember why not. He's probably busy filming, get this, Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde.
Yeah, he was dealing with an issue with his perfume formula, so he couldn't make the party. So she wanted him to set his friend Jerry Liev Schreiber up with her friend
Barbara.
Barbara. That's right.
Barbara played by...
We haven't seen Barbara yet, have we? Oh, no, we did. We did see her.
Yeah, she's played by Caroline Feeney, who is Mr. Feeney's sister.
Yeah, she's in the background of one episode of Boy Meets World. You just got to know where to look.
But this whole thing, so a lot of the next chunk of this movie will be them having discussions over the phone as to why Liev, who has never met Barbara, should go on a blind who's never met Gail, because Gail is Frank's ex, and he's friends with Frank, not Gail. Why he should go and meet Barbara, who he also has not met, because Frank has told Gail so much about Jerry, and Jerry...
I'm sorry, wait, we got to pause. I have a nosebleed.
And Frank... And
this is what we were dealing with for these first 10 minutes. This is impenetrable.
And this New Yorker comic strip of a movie.
I mean, I get it. I get that's how things go. Like, I understand what they're doing. They're sort of, satirizing and showing off, like, kind of the mid-90s modern, business person who's out there in the world trying to find dates and trying to find their place and all that. Like, I get it. I just find it very difficult to watch.
The movie matchmaker character, do they exist, and why in real life?
Oh, like Gail? Do you think there's like a real Gail?
Like a Gail who seemingly is very upset. Like, she's upset because the party was where she was going to introduce Jerry to Barbara, but instead nobody showed up, including herself.
Yeah, she didn't go.
She didn't go, and she doesn't even know Jerry. And she doesn't even date Frank anymore. But she's obsessed with hooking them up because they are, quote unquote, perfect for each other.
She gives Barbara shit for not going to the party.
Yes, and they're all on shitty laptops. We were trying to figure out if Dana was if Gail was typing into a giant laptop or typing into a small cash register. But like, there is not a person on earth that I could give a shit about whether they should meet someone and date somebody. Not a single person on God's green earth that I look at people like, they'd probably be a good match. I don't give a shit. So to have someone who's apparently Gail, who is my exact opposite, A, she likes to use the phone, and B, she's trying to hook people up, and C, she's not with Tim Daly, and I would be. So I could get some of that sweet, sweet Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde money.
Yeah. The other story that seems like it's maybe important is this guy Martin, who looks like an alternate reality Jerry Seinfeld, and we spend the entire time with him basically looking up his nose because of where the camera is placed. He gets a phone call from a woman who identifies herself as Denise, and she is talking very fast.
Very fast.
And she is... So she tells him that she knows something about, like, she keeps trying to get answers from him about whether he's Jewish. She knows his name is Martin Wiener, right? And she is trying to figure out if he's Jewish, and it sounds like she's trying to date him, but then she reveals that she knows a secret about him that he doesn't know she knows, or that she's not supposed to know. Is that right?
Yes. So I have two thoughts on this. One is going to be movie related, and two is not. What do you want first?
Movie related.
Okay, so this is a very 1995 movie, right? And my theory is it's going to be incredibly 1995 of what is hot then, right? What are the hot button items? We haven't gotten to Viagra yet. That's like 2 years away, right? But what are the things everyone's talking about in 1995? Okay.
Hackers.
Not quite yet. Almost there.
Well, that was 95, my friend.
I mean, it hadn't hit big time yet. Not for
the movie Hackers came out in 95.
I don't care. It's not in a phone movie yet. They wouldn't be casually talking about hacking. Sperm banks. When did that Shelley Long movie come out?
Wait, what Shelley Long movie?
There's a Shelley Long movie where she works at a sperm bank. But sperm banks were very, very funny at the time. I think this guy went to a sperm bank. And she...
Oh.
And
she's trying daughter?
Or something. Maybe it's her daughter and she's trying to find out more about him or something. And I'm looking up Shelley Long's...
I'm looking for this. Yeah, I'm looking for it. It's not the Money Pit, is it?
That is... If I have made up in my head a Shelley Long film where she is working at a sperm bank, I apologize. That's not what I want to do.
Losing it.
But
it's called I found it. It's called Frozen Assets.
That is a good name for a sperm bank. What year did it come out?
92.
So maybe I'm wrong on this one because that's a little early.
Corbin Burnson's in it.
What was the episode of The Simpsons where we find out that Barney gives at the sperm bank in Springfield, and there's a ton of Barney babies everywhere, and they're all burping? Is that on IMDb?
Man, I don't remember.
Okay. Secondly, unrelated to the movie, the character of Martin is played by Dan Gunther. He is known for Galaxy Quest. Also starring in Galaxy Quest, Tony Shalhoub from Wings. So
we're getting
Wings.
Closer.
Yes. Also starring in Wings, Tim Daly, who also stars Dr. Jekyll as Hyde.
That's right. The actor playing Denise is Alana Ubach, I think is how you say her last name. She's been in a ton of shit. The way you just said that, it sounds like you were accusing me of pronouncing her name that way. And I would never even attempt to. I think everybody would know her. Just like she was the person that I immediately recognized, like without going, it's Liev Schreiber, it's Tim Daly. Like I recognize her from tons of things. She was also in an episode of Monk starring Tony Shalhoub, who was in Wings with Tim Daly, who was in Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde. But she's in the Legally Blonde series. She's Serena in those movies. I think the thing that jumps out to me is that she was one of the sidekicks in Beekman's World.
You're right, she was.
Yeah.
What has Beekman said about COVID? What has the rat in Beekman's World said about the global pandemic?
I don't know. We know, like, we had two kind of concurrent science guys on television. We had Bill Nye, of course, the better known and real scientist, and then we had Beekman's World, which was some crackpot who lived in a basement with a rat and a girl. And
some guy who appeared to be filming his TV show on the set of the Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, Paul Zaloom.
That
was his name.
Did he star in anything else that happened to star Tony Shalhoub?
I don't know. He was in an episode of The Equalizer, which I'm sure some people showed up on at some point.
So Denise is the titular character.
Yes.
She goes through a lot of emotions.
Yes.
A lot of acting.
Here's my thought on her. I wonder if she's going to be calling more than just Martin. Like, what if there has been a murder and she knows that one of them is the killer? And
you think it's his phone
she's
clue?
Trying to solve it because she's the murder victim's daughter.
She was the murder victim. She's calling
from beyond the grave.
Phone clue. Book that, Dano. I'm now calling you Dano.
At the end of the movie, we saw the title screen. It said Denise Calls Up. At the end, it's going to be Denise Clues Up.
That's not even a word. How you say that?
Yeah, it is. It can be whatever you want it to be.
It can be whatever you want it to be.
The English language is malleable. We can push and pull it in whatever shape we desire.
Oh, so here's my one. We have a character who doesn't want to get together with one woman. So obviously,
good job with that one.
I tried to remember her name, but I couldn't. I also don't remember his name.
Barbara
okay.
and Jerry are trying to get fixed up by Gail and Frank. Denise knows a secret about Martin. Martin is a friend of Jerry's, and Jerry calls Martin at the end of our 10 minutes to try to get out of his meeting with Barbara.
So Jerry's going to end up with Denise.
Oh, you think so?
If I had to take a guess, it literally is a guess.
That's your prediction. What is Linda going to do? Is she just going to be cleaning up this fucking party? Is everybody going to show up at her house? That's how it ends. Everybody shows up at Linda's place after she's taken out the trash with all the food in it that she had to throw away.
The whole movie should be one by one Linda killing all these characters. As they're on the phone,
as
Linda
they walk in
the room. They're on the phone talking to each other, and we see Linda come up behind them, slowly stalk them, and then choke them out with a broom that she's used to clean up her party.
Or she leaves. Oh, that's what it is. Everybody gets very sick throughout the movie, and we find out they've just eaten spoiled food that came from Linda's party.
I pictured her like, those little olives with little swords through them, little plastic swords. She puts those in their eyes after she kills them.
We did see some strawberries that were covered in like mold
from the night before. What happened?
That didn't make any sense.
What time warp does she live in?
Oh, what if everyone's already dead and this party is taking place in the future?
Well, this movie already had a time jump of 2 weeks.
That's right. It had
because they were supposed to set up Jerry and Barbara meeting each other. Is that right?
Well, okay, yeah. So Frank and Gail and Barbara and Jerry we're gonna go to eat lunch together, and then we just basically jump over 2 days, so that never happens. And
we jump 2 weeks.
Then is it 2 weeks? I thought it was 2 days.
Jerry. Whenever I don't know anything now for this episode in part 2, I'm just gonna go, Jerry.
You'll forget that when we get to recording part 2. One thing I do have to say, we can get close to wrapping this up because we're already going a little long for a first parter, and also there's really nothing to talk about. I mean, we did our due diligence, and we found out that Tim Daly was in Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde, and I think that is enough for a mini episode. But this is not a mini episode.
There's gonna be a large portion of people who have listened to what our output over the years who think this is us slowly as a joke going to come back and do the second half on Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde, unremarked upon that we were never supposed to start with that movie.
I wish that's what we were doing.
This isn't one of our gimmick episodes. We actually are going to come back because we've been paid to listen and watch this movie.
One thing I do want to bring up though is the director and writer of Denise Calls Up, Hal Salwin. He hasn't made a ton of movies. He's got 5 writing credits, 3 directing credits, a couple acting credits. So not a ton of output. His last film, very true. You have not made an 8-star film on IMDb yet, and neither has he, I think. But so his last thing was out in 2004. But one thing that I find really interesting is it doesn't have any of his like age information, so like his date of birth or anything like that. But in Denise Calls Up, he is listed in the cast as Jerry as a little boy, and Jerry is Liev Schreiber. So how little is he?
Oh, do we have?
Is this like a 13-year-old making this movie?
No, what we have here, we're going to have a baby character voiced Look Who's Talking Now style by the director. And he's going to be on the phone.
No, that's dumb. Why would
No,
it list
really?
him
Why would
as-
that happen? Why would anything dumb happen in this movie?
But why would it list him as Jerry as a little boy when Liev Schreiber was what, in his 20s in this movie? That
Hard
makes
to
me
tell
think
them.
that Hal Salwin was like 16 when he directed this.
This is only like the second movie Liev Schreiber ever made after his
Really?
debut in Mixed Nuts.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. I think he was probably fine being directed by a 16-year-old.
He wouldn't have known any better at the time.
That is true. All right. Well, I think this is the perfect place to wrap up this episode on the first 10 minutes of Denise Calls Up. We'll be back on Thursday, probably, to discuss the rest of the film and see if it all takes place in one shots while everyone is on the telephone.
If you just for Darren, can you say while they're on the telly? Can you do it?
Let me take that. Let me take that back. I wonder if this whole movie will take place in one shots of people on the telly.
Beautiful. Well, wait a second. I got someone's on their line here. Click.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, they're gone. I'm sorry. I didn't. It was beeping while you were talking, and I just thought I'd be able to get it. I didn't want to interrupt you.
All right. Well, until Thursday, when we're back talking about the rest of Denise Calls Up and finding out who all she calls up during this 1 hour, 16-minute movie, I've been Josh.
I've been Mrs. Hyde.
And we predict you'll join us.
I mean, we didn't make it all about wings.
If you like the show, subscribe, rate, and review us over at Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter and Instagram at predictocast, and you can find our entire back catalog at predictocast.com. Our theme music is by Kyle Sledge. Find more of his work at soundcloud.com/geistmusic. To get monthly bonus content, sign up at patreon.com/predictocast. As always, thanks for listening.